Hey everyone, welcome back to BTM Scum Modeling for week 15 on Shuttle Discovery and the launch pad, and week 6 on the axanar starships. So I'm going to try something different this time because I got two client builds going on at the same time. You know, I'm trying to, okay, I can get this done, and while this is doing, then I can do that, and then, I'm at the point now, which you'll see in the videos, and you have been seeing, is I got to start focusing really on getting the little details and getting things done, like with the launch tower and with getting the starships lighted and put together and ready to go. Because so what I decided to do was one day I'll work on one client's build, and then one day I'll work on the next client's build, and I'll devote one whole day to each client's build. So the other thing is I'm beginning back to start working on Monday, and I'll probably work Monday through Saturday just because it's a great thing, but don't worry, I will upload the video. So let's say Monday I start with the shuttle, Tuesday axanar starships, Wednesday shuttle, Thursday axanar starships, and then Friday with when I upload the videos I'm going to do a half and half day. So let me know what you think about that, guys, and because I really do like it. I got a lot done, and I'm not going to take away from the video, but yes, the Aries is coming along very beautifully, and there's a lot of big on Discovery. So like I said, I'm not going to take away from the video so you can see that. So with that, if you are new to my channel, please click on the subscribe button, click on the little bell, and every time I upload you will be notified. And as always, thank you to all my subscribers. I really do appreciate y'all's friendship and y'all's just everything. And with that, if you guys see something I did during the video on a build, or you reviewed some of my other build videos, or got a question on how I did something, have a question on why I did something, got a question on, okay, what the heck were you thinking, Buck? Or, hey, Buck, can you go over that technique more, or can you do just a video on that technique? Yes, I will. Please put it in the comment section, and I usually respond within 12 to 24 hours. So with that, let's get to the USS Aries and the Shuttle Discovery. Good morning, Tuesday, and yes, back to work on the bench. I did do work, a little bit of work on the weekend. I got the rest of the, hold on, let me see if I can grab it here real quick. Let me zoom out real quick. I got the rest of the payload clean room. I got the railings on, and I got it primed, so I'll be doing a little bit of touch-up. And I want to get started on painting, but I also need to get some decals finished here, and then I can start painting. So I'm going to try something new this week. As before, usually with the builds, I've been trying to, when I reach a stop point, then I'll go to another one and then come back. Well, now I'm in the process of need to get started on doing some more paint on the shuttle and get these decals done and finish doing just a wee bit of scratch build. But also, I want to get the wiring and everything done and get started painting on my client's axanar starships. So what I'm going to try this week is I'm going to do one full day to the shuttle and its accompaniments, one full day to the axanar starships, and then the next day go back to Discovery, and then Friday axanar, and I'll probably do Friday as a half-half because that's usually when I upload. So right now, guys, I'm going to finish up getting decals up here onto the front, which is the last of the window, and double checking, making sure those look good once they get dry, and then do some touch-ups. Because when you do these third-party decals, you're going to, that right there by the window, sorry, finger, was one whole one, but then you got this space. So I got to, the great thing is they leave enough that you can fix that. So I'm going to get going on the decals, and then I will come back and start showing you, and then start working on the launch platform, because I got to do scratch building on that, and as that dries, then I'll start doing some paint. So let me get decals on, and I will be back. Alright, guys, well, decals are drying, so I'm going to get started on doing painting. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually what I do with pretty much all my kits, is I do a lot of pre-shading. And basically all you do is get flat black, or you know, that, and let's see, let me bring this back down, and I'll show you guys here on let's say this is one of the floors in the tower. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this just to give a little bit more texture to it, and not crazy, as you can see. And same thing with this building. I just want to get texture to it. Give it a little nice, just kind of like that. And then for the tower part, let me do this. And I'm sorry if it's not in frame. Let me zoom back out here. See if I can try to keep it somewhat in frame for you guys. And basically, all I'm going to do is just basically do that. Just kind of highlight it. You know, not give it anything real dark and real rough. Some parts might be, and then some parts might not be. And it doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, because you're going to cover this with a lot of your overall paint. But what this does is it helps highlight and give you that. So the same here with this tower part. Let me turn it around here. Again, and that's why I love having this table, because this is not my where I do on the other side with the build, but this is that long one I showed you guys, and it's nice because these are some big parts. But again, I'm not going crazy, I'm just highlighting things. I'm just trying to bring highlight to things. Nothing real nuts. Just like so. And as you can tell, like I said, you can be a little darker, a little lighter. And then you're going to let that dry. And then the fun one is right here. And this one I'm actually going to do a little bit more on. Especially with these, you know, the way this is built. Let's see. Let's start here on the front. See if I can keep it in camera for you. And as you can see, I want to make sure to give some really good shadow to those parts. Those big parts like right there. And it doesn't have to be, you know, 100% accurate, because all you're doing is, like I said, is pre-shade. So, and then as you get up a little higher, you can do that. And then the same thing on the inside. So, and then like I said, I'll give a little bit here, and a little bit here. And definitely get some in there. And then, like I said, sometimes you have to definitely turn this to help. Let me get this done really quick, guys, and I'll share with you while I'm doing this. And then I won't make you keep watching me do this. Just wanted to make sure I gave you guys a good representation of what I mean by pre-shading. Okay, and like I said, all right, you come here. So as you can see, I hit these parts a lot heavier, so I can definitely bring them out and then just kind of, you know, do an overall. So let me get these things finished pre-shaded, and I'll show you what it looks like, because there's a lot of parts to pre-shade. So I will be back. All right, well, pre-shading is done, and that was a lot of black, but like I said, I'm going to be adding detail to this. This is the launch pad, the boosters, and the main, and all that. And there's a lot of greatness to it. And I've been doing a lot of looking online. I've got a lot of the pictures of the actual piece that's, you know, the actual machine and floor. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to go on here, but that is going to be down the road a little bit as soon as I get some parts painted and put together. But one thing I did do, because I showed you guys, I put brass rod into the booster engines, and then I added this hard cork, and I got it from the trees that I did the jack on. and I drilled holes, and this is going to help. Once the shuttle's on there, it's going to help keep it stable. This is not going to move because, yes, like I said, I am going to also be doing the booster fire and the main engines. So, but that's that. So, while those parts are drying, let me get some more decals on. So, I shall return. Alright guys, yes, started paint. And this is the inside of the tower, sorry. My lodge, let me know. And yes, I went red, and it's going to be red and gray, and I'm going to show you why. Out of all the, I keep research, all the pictures, I mean everything. There's a lot of them really are the same color, and then a lot of them are like, what the heck? So I went with this scheme. See if you can see it right there. So basically, where the red is like, don't go there, and then there'll be the gray around. Sorry, be the gray around the other parts. Kind of, you can see it there, but really good right there. So that's what I'm doing. I am going to go with that. So the next part is going to be a lot. So when this dries, I come back, I'll show you. Sorry, keep it in camera. As it dries, I'll show you. I'll mask it off with you guys, and then it'll be the fun of, oh my god, that's a lot of gray to do. I mean, a lot of gray. But hey, that's the point. You got to get some stuff. I've been building for weeks and weeks and haven't really shown much stuff for the decals and stuff and the lights. So now it's time to get paint going. And yes, that's the fun. That is really a lot of fun. And I love doing paint because you can do so much with it. But let this dry. I'm going to take a break and then come back. We'll go to masking and then go to the gray. Alright, well, the red's still drying, so I haven't been able to get that mask off, but I've been going ahead. I've got the tower for the most part done, and the floors. Now I will be doing more, painting to them to give them a little bit more detail. But what I went with, the best gray that looked at in the pictures was neutral. It's dark, but it's not too dark, and it's going to take a lot. It's going to actually help add that little bit of detail. But again, guys, you never have to do it in the first coat. So this is the second coat, and I've actually got my brush wide open, or the widest that it can, the widest area. So instead of doing something like that, I can do something like that. So, and yes, I will do something with these, because the funny thing, even like I said, I think you can, with all the pictures, there's a lot to do, and very neutral colors. I mean, there's gray, white, and the red that I did. But other than that, there's not much. So any more of the detail is going to come in when I start to do detail painting on this, and so I'll show you about. But yes, these guys are done, and then I will go ahead and, after I clean the airbrush, as these guys are drying, I will get these guys in, and I will show you what that tower looks like. So, I shall return. Good morning, Wednesday, and yes, back at the bench. So, I didn't get as far as I wanted to. I didn't get this finished for you guys. Like I said, I did get the color down on this, the gray that I wanted to use, but I thought I'd give you guys kind of a little sneak peek as to what's coming Thursday. But yeah, so that's recap. Sorry, not rehab, recap. So shuttle got more decals, and a lot of the pre-shading and paint has started to go down on the launch tower. So with that, guys, let me get some things put away, and let's get back to axanar. Alright, so I have the Aries back on the bench, and as you remember, last time started the wiring, getting the nacelles put in, and getting these ready to light. And I did add more, so I have all the ones on. Sorry guys, let me get this in camera. So I have all the ones around the bridge on B deck, and then the ones that I forgot on the neck in the back near the impulse is in. So yay! Now the fun part is I got to start getting things in here to light, and as I do that, I will come back and I'll show you how I do that. But let me figure out my starting point and go from there. So I'll be back. Alright guys, so got some more trimming done, got some things out of the way. I'm still working in this area, but before I can finish doing anything in this area, I got to take care of the impulse engines. So one thing I'm going to use is my 2mm. Let's see if I can get it so in camera. 2mm bulb, and I'm doing what we call a light box. Basically, the LED is going to go in there, and then the box. Get the right one here. This is just part of it. I haven't finished it yet. Just a piece of styrene cut down to fit, and basically, then what I'm going to do is once I stick that LED in, I can. Well, let me get on camera. Sorry about that, guys. Let me adjust that. So, what this does is when the impulse engines are on, it's not going to reflect into any of the other lighting. So, that's the plan so far. That's what I'm going to do. But my big plan today is get Aries all buttoned up and ready to do that. But the other thing, I'll do that when I start going in to build the box, so you guys can see in with the other lighting. But one of the big things, especially like the impulse engines or anything that, you know, it's got to have that light, but you want it to look fiery or flamey, or you want even more distribution, diffuse your bulb, okay? And basically I just take a sanding stick like this, and what I'll do is I'll just go down and sand it, and that'll help diffuse the light even more. And it won't, when you look at the kit, when you're, say you're doing the impulse engine, when you're looking at it coming, when you're coming this way, you won't just see a pinpoint. You'll see a big array of light. And there's one, even with me diffusing it, there's one little more thing I'm going to do when it's time, and I will share that with you. But let me get these guys wired up and diffused, and then from there. So, a couple minutes, guys, and I shall return. Alright, guys, got the back and the side done. See if I can get this in here without it blurring out on you. There we go. And what you see over here, I'm going to talk about. This is what is called Fiberfill. It's used for a lot of things, but for stuffing things and all that. But for us model builders, it's a great added diffuser to the light. Even though you frosted the LED bulb, you want to make sure you're still not, you know, especially with something this small, you might get more pinpoint than you really want to. So I've started doing it, and it's really cool, and I learned about it from Lou over at Aztec Dummies. I've watched pretty much every video he's done, and you know, he can figure out things that sometimes I'm going, huh, what? So one thing you want to do when you do Fiberfill is first, don't get very much, and then second, you need to roll. Here, let me zoom out. Let's see if I can help here. You want to get it kind of rolled, because this stuff, it's great, but it's a pain in the butt to work with sometimes, because it's just fibers, you know, like. And then basically all you want to do is get it stuffed in, and as you can tell, you're getting these little strings. Sorry if it's not as close, but if I try to do any closer, then the darn thing would. Let me see. So as you can see, maybe, here you're starting to get those, it's little fibers. And I can't get close enough, but I will make sure. So, and if you keep getting loose ones, you can trim them down later, or, you know, or pull, just like that. But be careful, because sometimes when you pull on these, it'll pull everything else with it, and you're like, what the heck? So, there, that is as close as I can get it. So I've already got the lids, and I didn't do any light blocking paint because this is going to be good enough. Then I've done these little lids, and basically whatever doesn't get covered, I use my tulip slick to help finish that. And then the fun part, like I said, sometimes it gets a little crazy, but basically I'm just making sure I'm matching the lid up to this edge, because on the bottom of the ship, this is a connection point. Sorry, my big finger was in the way. This is connection point. So I want to make sure that I get the lid as down in there as I can. And with the Fiberfill, yeah, sometimes it's like, what the heck? And, okay. So, yeah. And you got to be, like I said, sometimes you got to be really, really careful with this when you're, because I use CA a lot. You guys know that because it sets and acts really, really quick. So, okay. So I'm going to do a little drop there. Then run a little bead right here just to lock it in. And then if I have to trim anything, I can, which usually I do, but that's is what it is. It's easy. So there's that one, and then gonna do this side same way. Just, you know, try to get it, you know, stand on your head, stick your tongue in the right position, and wiggle your nose, right? So again, just, okay, you gonna get down in there? Or no? That's pretty close. And if I need to, I can sand that down just a little bit, but I need to add a little bit of that. Just like so. Okay, we'll let that get set up. And then once that's done, I'll trim. But that's basically how I start working on, this is my light box that I do. And if it was on a bigger one, most definitely I probably, normally when I do these, I definitely do light blocking. But for now, this is going to be just good. So that's going to get dry. And then it's on to more lighting. So I will come back when this is good to go, and we can start seeing what else we can get done, or I can get done. So I will be back. Those are dry enough position. I want to show you that effect. And remember, so using the tenna control board for this, the impulse engines don't have a resistor because it's already tied into the board to give it that impulse look. But yes, I do. Oh, just try not to. I do have light blocking to do. And then lose that. Give me just 1 second here, guys. Darn things, I tell ya. Get this reset. Okay. Make sure I keep my fingers apart. So as you can tell, let me see if I can zoom this in for you. So yes, there is going to be some tulip slick needed, but turn this over very nicely. And actually, let me do this. Turn this off. Makes it even more. But there you can see that effect, right? That it gives that nice diffused look. There isn't really a hard pinpoint of light. And that's what we're going for. So let me get this off so I don't short it out and have to replace it, that I'm good at, and get things going, and I'll figure out what the next step is. So I'll be back. Alright, so I did, and I went and just did a little bit of hot glue on these to keep them down more and to make sure each one of them was going to be able to get light. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and start putting in the LED tape. Now I've already got this one all done. I've pre-soldered the ends. Oh, let me zoom out just a bit there. Pre-soldered the ends, and the great thing about these, they do have sticky tape on the back of them, as you can see. And while yes, I like that, I also hot glue these guys down, because I'll tell you one thing, that adhesive is not always the best, right? So just kind of know where I want it, and I'll put it there, and then I always leave, you know, I'm always going to leave extra, because I've run into that problem, which I've told you guys. So I'm going to strip and untwirl, granted, right? And I'll get them separated. And go ahead and strip them, hopefully. Usually when they start getting this short, my sometimes my thing just does not want to do what it, you know, it's easier when there's longer wire and I'm not facing the ship or trying to do it on the ship. And sometimes I can just do it with my fingers too. There's that. This black one has been a bit of a bear lately. And I do mean a bit of a bear, but there we go. Okay, they're both still connected. So the tape tells you which is positive, which is negative. It gives you that indication. And if it doesn't, a good idea is to, you know, either do a little bit of a marker on here, or, you know, instead of what I'm doing here is just going from one right down to the next, because I can see where the polarities are. You can also just do small strips, you know, so you can have each one marked and ready to go. Now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get this into a decent enough position to where I can use my soldering gun and my tweezers here, and just get this guy going somewhat. And sometimes if it doesn't put it, you know, if you weren't able to get enough solder down, this is always a good idea. I get a little bit more on my soldering gun. It's kind of like that. I make sure I have my tweezers on, and then I just kind of like so. Just make sure it's good. And that one's done. Now I will twist that out of the way, and then I always snip off the extra wire. There we go. So now to the positive guy, and make sure that if you do have one of these wires a little more exposed than you want, just kind of make sure that, I'm kind of doing like that. Trying to anyway. And sometimes, even if there is on there, sometimes you definitely got to load this back up, or, you know, just tin it a little bit, give it a little bit more solder on there, and then you can do, as long as it's in the right spot, just like so. Now I'll wipe that off, and I will get this one trimmed, and make sure, there we go. And then the next thing I do, I always have my hot glue ready, because I want to make sure where I solder definitely gets a little bit of glue. It helps keep that in place. And there we go. So now I've got the next one right, and so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do a lot of it, you know, just take off enough on each one that I can do this. And sometimes, so like with this one that I'm fixing to lay down, I'm going to actually, this is the one that's going to be running out. So a good idea too is to, you know, since this is not a very big model, sometimes just going ahead and getting your next wire. I mean, I got to solder in the machine, or on the ship, but I can do that. Alright, sorry about that. Had to retweak it just a bit. But let's get this finished up so you guys, I'll show you. So now I'm just, because like I said, I'm doing another jump wire. or yeah, jumper wire basically. I'm just going to go ahead and get this one into place. Maybe. There we go. Really? There we go. Come on now. Yeah, sometimes these guys can be a little finicky. Just make sure you got a good dollop on there, and we're good to go. Yeah, and then something like that. So it's always a good idea to have your tweezers handy. Trust me on that one. And sometimes, like with this, because this black's been so hard, I'll probably leave a little more length than I normally do, because there's just not, you know, there's little room, and trying to get this to work where you can work it, sometimes it's just kind of crazy. So there. So now, get these guys trimmed. Like so. Okay. Now, because like I said, I've already got that tag down, I can do this. So I'll move you, and I move you, and again, I'm just gonna do like that. Remember, again, take the tape off. Once you're pretty sure about where you want it, you can do it like that. And then, like I said, I just stick it down. So, and the first one that I'm going to do is the negative. Yay. And then I'll pull the positive through, and I'll be able to really keep him short. As I can go, yeah, I can go right about there. And okay, I got enough. Yep, there's enough. This. Like so. Let's get trimmed. And trimmed, maybe. Then kind of what you want to do is just kind of like that. I'll lay it down. Like I said, I make sure none of those connect, and then I'll do, again, on both sides, I'll do this. And then what I'll do is here is I'll go ahead and just tack down that part. And I'll do this. Before I glue that part down, I'm going to yell at this dang wire. Usually this is not that hard to strip, so I'm going to go ahead and test to make sure all the connections are good. And yes, you're going to probably get blinded out a bit, but yay! There you go. And let's see. It's definitely picking up a lot of good light, so I can't show you that until everything's closed up, but there is that. And if you're wondering why about the toothpick, because I had to put some tulip slick there and I'm keeping the other ends out, but this is now ready to glue, and I will leave it at that. Alright guys, well, I'm going to tidy this up a little bit, and when I get back, I'll show you what I'm doing next. Alright guys, well, I did get some started. I got the nav lights and the marker lights in and starting that. And saw top of the ships over there, and yeah, so really kind of cool, fun. I'll show all of it tomorrow. I need to let things cool down for a little bit and walk away getting frustrated, but I will recap in the morning before we get back on the Discovery. So have a good night, guys. Good morning, Thursday, and here's a recap of work done yesterday. Got pretty much all the top of the ship ready to go. A couple little things I got to do, but not much. And then I started getting the marker, the navigation, and other lights in. And I said I would share that with you guys today. Just had to do a little tweak. So let's do this. And forgive me if I'm trying to be really careful so this doesn't short. You know how it is. But let me turn that off. And let me do this. So there's the top of the nacelles that have the stay-ons, and then turn it over and you start to see, sorry, let me get in camera, and you'll see the navs. So that is where I'm at, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get the areas all buttoned up. But let me get things cleaned off and I will return. Alright, and as it's been going, first thing I'm going to do is get some more decals on Discovery. And because it's getting close, I mean, I still got to do this side, which I'm going to work on the easy ones, really quick and easy ones. And then finish these guys, and then, oh yeah, get the bottom on. But in time. But first, let me get the quick decals on, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, well, another round done, and there you go. Now I'm going to let these get dry, and we'll get started on the masking that I was talking about and how I do it, and get started laying some more paint down. So give me just a minute. Alright guys, so what I'm going to mask off is what I painted the red, and did a little bit of overspray, but that's fine. So just pick a point that you want and make sure you got some very light adhesive, just in case. And basically all I'm going to do is just cover this, and like I said, and I just keep going around making sure the tape is staying taut and pushing it down just like that. And then yeah, you might get sometimes where it's like, what the heck was this thinking? Just kind of like so. And then I don't even trim it, I just do that. So show you again. Let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Again, just pick a start point that you want, and for some reason I do it like this, but just pick your start point. Make sure you're getting this, like I said, down. You don't want this to pop any of these edges while you're doing your airbrushing, because if you do, then all that paint that you just spent time on, and then sometimes when you're doing the trim like this or masking like this, sometimes this stuff just gets a mind of its own, it seems like. Not, you know, not that you're doing, you know, it's not that it's doing it on purpose, but because this side was just a little bit wonky, sometimes that's all I do is I just cut the tape and then I reapply. And one last time, and I won't make you guys keep watching this, but again, just find a part that you feel comfortable starting on, and just go like that. And like I said, if it, you know, if you are finding that the last area is like giving you issues, you can just trim the tape and do that. So that's how I'm going to mask this. So let me get this taken care of and I shall return. Okay, I'm not going to really hash real hard on this because you've seen several paint. But again, remember, guys, don't try to paint it all at once, okay? Just get a nice start light coat, like that. Like so. And then, however you want to do it, you know, put a finger in the bottom, I don't know, or just do one side at a time, which is pretty good. You can do one side at a time, and you just slowly, and like I said, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to try to coat it all at once, because if you do that, you're going to create runs, and trust me, that is no fun. So, just like so, one more there, one more there. And I probably should have done the building last, since I'm doing this. Since I'm rolling it, like so. And then yeah, if you do get little, you know, split points when you're doing your airbrush, again, you can just kind of go tap, 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 just tap them out of the way. Always start on the paper towel if it helps, and then take it up. And last side for now. And as you guys can see, I never get right up on the kit. I don't do this. I always kind of like to stay a little bit away. Just let the paint do its thing, you know. So there's the first coat. And then normally what I do while that's drying, yes, I gotta add a little bit more. And then I'm gonna thin it down just a bit more. To get a little, you know, get more of a higher spread. And just test it out. So I'm gonna let this dry for a minute, and then I'll get back to painting. And when it's done, I will be back and I will share with you guys. So see you in a bit. All right, it is done, and it's dry enough to this point that I'm gonna at least grab the ones that had the longer strap on it, or a piece of the tape, I guess you could say, but I'm trying not to drop it. But let's see. You definitely want to, you know, leave it on just long enough to let it start to get somewhat, you know, starting to get dry. But sometimes you don't want to leave it on till it's all the way dry, because sometimes it will honestly actually pick up the paint that you're masking. Because on a lot of things, I don't do a protective clear coat until I'm done with the painting. And because I don't see sometimes why I need to do, you know, I want to make sure I do it all at once. But I've also had the, you know, the mistake that, yes, while I let it stay on and the mask dried, then it pulled up the paint that I was masking, so I had to redo that. So you want to let this get pretty decent, not crazy, but dry, but decent enough. And then when touching, you know, you touch where you got the paint for now, or, you know, you got the masks on, and okay, and here, let me show you guys, see if you can see that. You see that red? That's starting to pick up, and like I said, I didn't leave these on very long. It's not bad, but that's some of the pickup. So that definitely says, yes, I need to get these off, because I really do not want it to pick up any paint. Or if it does, something really easy to fix and not as nuts as sometimes things can go. But, so, show you that, guys. So let me get this off and come back, and we'll start working on the floors. I got some things for that too. Alright guys, welcome back, and yes, I did get a little bit more painting done, and now I'm going to start going through what I'm going to do with these deck pieces. So first, I've already dry brushed a little bit on here. This is where the crane sits and goes around top. And by dry brushing is I load the paint up, and then I just take my paper towel and wipe it off as much as I can, and then very lightly I don't go crazy. I just want to, you know, just give a little bit of hint that there's some traffic there, and just kind of like that. Not very much, just a little bit, you know. And because the next process I'm going to do is going to help cover a lot of this back up. But just to give that little bit of oomph there. And I'm not even worried about this because, you know, the crane's going to be on it. But again, I just do this. Not real crazy, and especially in there either, because that's where the house is going to be. But just a little bit. Like I said, I'm just trying to give a little emphasis, not great. And again, just a little bit there. And there was really no color guide or any kind of explanation. Everything I looked up I couldn't find. So I painted certain things. I took an artist approach and I painted red. You know, okay, that's firebox, just in case. You know, that's where the fire stuff is. And then a little bit of steel on the machine. These guys, oh sorry, not in camera. So this I put a steel on. Geez, I'm still not in camera. There we go. Steel there, and then some, just a little expression. But again, like I said, I just slightly. I'm not going crazy because, well, we know this is government, so there's not going to be a, you know, if it was like when I was in the Army, why isn't that white rock painted white? Why does it look so, you know, so, you know, they'll keep these things pretty well, but just a little emphasis that this is a walked area. So I'm going to keep doing this, and when I get ready for the next part, I will come back and show you guys. Alright, now on to the next step, which is going to be using the panel line accent black from T.B.I. And I've got paper towels, so I'll blot it off. Now, usually when I do this panel line accent or do any kind of washes, heavy washes, I always make sure everything is clear coated and ready for that to protect it. And then I go in with the panel line and do, you know, a rough thing, and then use mineral spirits, especially mineral spirits, to help take a lot of it off, especially on the bigger ships. But with this, I'm going to show you a different, sometimes something I do different. First off, I don't use a little brush. I get mine, bigger one, and I'll drain it, and then basically, have to have it in my hand, but basically all I do is just kind of start doing this, just trying to get it in there. And some of these is kind of really nice because sometimes you don't have to do a whole lot with them. Just, now we're getting some in there. So, and I'm only doing the inside because I have something for that. So, I'm going to let that sit for a few seconds. Well, I'm going to do this one. And I go through a lot of this panel line accent because I love it, because it's not only a good black, but I mean, to help bring out things, but also it's what I do to help help separate panels on my starships, to help show that those, you know, those panel lines are there, just to give it a little more depth. That's what I like about this stuff, just depth. Okay. So when I do this, a lot of times, like I said, I just let it sit. A lot of times I use a nice soft cloth, but this isn't a, you know, real body, so I'm taking a paper towel, and basically I'm just going to do that. And taking up the excess, or I can do, you know, I do this, just kind of wipe it down, and there we go. Just kind of like that. I mean, still gray, still got some of that silver tread that you can see, but not absolutely crazy. Until I drop it, but I just kind of lightly, like that, just ever so lightly, just go over and get it out of there. And again, just slightly pick up the excess, and let's see if you can see that. Looks really good. It's really neat doing it that way. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to do the inside of the tower and the outside of the tower. And then once it's all good and dry, I'm going to go outside and give it its final matte coat before I start putting the parts together. But I'm not going to make you watch me keep doing this. So when I get things going again, I will be back and share. Good morning, Friday, and here is the recap. Yes, the tower is now together. Not too bad. Some takeaways. Be careful. What I mean by that is, because this kit's so old, be careful that don't get discouraged if some things aren't fitting like they should. There's a little gap between some of the floors, but everything else worked really good. So a little bit of cleanup, but what I did was, after I got all the painting in and did the weathering and got it dried, I took it outside and hit it with the matte clear coat. And after that dried, I put in the floors and let those get good and secure. And then I put this building in first before I put the very top on, and then put the top in, and then put the other side. Now when I did it with the other side is I basically laid it down like this, and then I did a little bit of glue and stuff, and then I got it all together, made sure it was where it's supposed to be, and then I did just some paint masking tape around it. So there, that is done. So I do have more paint coming that I had to order because I'm running low on the neutral gray, but as I said on Monday, or Tuesday, the first video, that Fridays are going to be a half and half day. So half of it I'm going to spend on Discovery and half I'm going to do on the NX builds. So let me get things cleared out and we'll start with the USS Aries. Okay guys, so right now I have epoxied in the base post, and I've got it sitting and letting it dry. It's pretty well. So while the epoxy is getting set for the next hour or two, I'm going to go ahead and get the yard mode, and then because it needs it, and then I'll come back and see how that is, if it's ready to get some more work done, and for the lighting, and try to get everything set and go from there. If not, we'll get back onto I'll just start working on adding more stuff to the Discovery launch tower. Alright guys, let's see how this gets secured up good. Alright, this is good enough. It's really good and set, so just gonna work with it easily. But gonna try to finish getting this lighting up and done and start getting the light block, you know, like on the navs, squared away, and start cleaning up the spider webs. So that's the plan right now, is I'm going to try to get the LED tape in and get that all wired so I can get everything together and start running the reason I put the base in is because I want to be able to, because I'm going to be putting LED strip tape back here. I want to get all this wiring down into a secured spot so I can, you know, make sure it's going to be good. So let me get working on this, and as I get further along, I will share with you guys. Okay, well, most of it's done. I mean, except for the one right here, and then putting the top on. I got these guys in, and I'm going to let it cool for a little bit. Let these spider webs, these, you know, the hot glue spider webs get into cold, so I can start pulling and cleaning that up before I go and do the last bit of it. So with that, guys, let's get back to the shuttle and see how it's going. Alright, well, the Aries is resting for a bit. I got started. I did this side this morning and this side. And the great thing, even though like this, the third party gives you enough to take care of the spacing, so I'm not worried about that. But yes, it's going. So now I'm going to do a little bit more painting. I've got this to go on the back of the tower, and then I want to get this painted and get these guys on to the tower and get this finished. So that's where I'm at right now, guys. And the good thing is my paint is going to be here Monday, so yay. But let me get working on these, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. Alright, see you guys in a little bit. Well, it's a good thing I got more paint coming because I just finished it up on these parts. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, bringing that one in here. Got it finished, and I went ahead and put this on top of the crane just to kind of see what it's going to look like. But the other thing I did do on this that I didn't share with you guys is in the instructions says don't glue, and so it can spin, and I'm fine with that. But one of the problems with is they also don't tell you that it's a little off balance. It would just keep falling towards the front because that's where a lot of the weight is. So I took the Quonset hut back off, and then I filled it with lead fishing weight that I use to help balance things out. So now it's nice and sturdy and ready to go. But I just wanted to look what that looks like on it, because I still gotta, while these guys are drying, and then once they get dry, I gotta gloss them, then I gotta weather them, and then mat them. But that's I'll get the gloss on here in a little bit. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now, guys, and I'm gonna keep trudging on. Alright guys, I'm gonna call it a day for now so I can get the video put together, but not bad. Got more decals, finished up the sides of the shuttle Discovery, and see if I can keep that in camera and you can see, and that's what it's going to look like when everything's on there. And like I said, I just kept this so it could turn, but you see that weight, so that's very nice. So I got some touch-ups to do here in a bit, but not like I'm not going to work on this tomorrow, and definitely going to work on the USS Aries tomorrow. I've gotten pretty much everything in place except for getting this LED strip tape down and trimming these up. But the reason I'm still waiting to do that is like I said, I just wanted to take a break, let everything rest, did a lot of work with it. So I got to get these guys down and then get these guys trimmed and to it. And but yeah, and yes, the USS Aries is on her base post and looks very good. Like I said, I keep this back there right now, just, you know, just so she's not, so she's sitting right there. But yeah, so there we go, guys. And I'm sorry about it being in the hand, but this thing is getting tall, so got to make sure you can see the whole thing. So with that, guys, have a great and happy weekend. Have a safe and happy and great weekend, and have a safe, happy and great week next week. And I'll see you guys back here on the bench.